ASU's on a bye week, and if you're really bored and trying to find something to watch, don't worry. I got you covered.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day, and thanks to all of you for making us your first listen of the day. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications wherever you're getting your shows. Stay in touch by following me on Twitter at RichieBrads36 and the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a very different edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast because we're not really going to talk about the Sun Devils. I mean, there's going to be a little bit that's mixed in because we can't have a Locked On Sun Devils podcast and not talk about the Sun Devils. But this is more of like a, hey, I know that you're probably really bored today. Let me give you some games to watch to help you pass the time. And that's what we're here to do. But I do want to start off talking about Arizona State, of course. ASU is going into the bye week 3-1. They're 3-0 in non-conference play. They are 1-0 in Big 12 play. They lost at Lubbock to Texas Tech. I wouldn't call it a convincing loss. As I have said all week, it felt like a humbling loss. Now ASU is in their bye week. They have got some stuff to work on. We highlighted earlier this week the things that I want to see them work on and try to master during the bye week. So if you haven't checked out that episode, check out that episode where I go into detail on the 3 things I wanted to see ASU work on during this bye week. When they come back next week, they are returning home. It's been almost a month. They are hosting Kansas. It's a big game. Kansas is certainly slumping right now, to put it politely, but this is still a team that coming into the year, we had some pretty high expectations for them. There was this thought that Kansas was going to be one of the best teams in the Big 12. I picked them in my preseason media poll to win the Big 12. That doesn't look very good right now. And there's a lot of people that are in question moving forward with this program. But today we're going to go ahead and start our conversation. What should ASU fans watch? Let's take a look at Big 12 games. And we'll start with TCU at Kansas. Kansas is coming off a bye week. They're back home. They're trying to get their season back on track. Because right now, like I said, there are jobs on the line for the 1-3 Jayhawks and a quarterback in Jalen Daniels who has, to say underachieved would be a wild understatement. This has been a bad Kansas football team. But ASU is still going to want to pay attention to see where they're at going into their matchup next week. Is Kansas really going to continue to slump? Or was that bye week what they needed to turn it around? On the flip side, TCU, they've been a really fun team this year. Unfortunately, they are 0-2 or 0-1, in conference play after blowing a huge lead to UCF a couple weeks ago. And they got boat raced by SMU last week. They're a 2-2 football team. They're fine. They're not anything too crazy. Similar to ASU, I had them coming into the year in that limbo tier of like, are you one of the top teams or are you one of the bottom teams? They are still in limbo right now. And I'm curious to see where they end up. Around the rest of the Big 12. Number 22, BYU at Baylor. BYU was a team that was also similar to ASU, picked to finish close to last in the Big 12. The expectations were about as low as they come. Not quite as low as ASU. They have exceeded expectations as a 4-0 Cougars team, and they just took down Kansas State last week in Provo. And you know that the chocolate milk and the Dr. Pepper was absolutely flowing with the fans out there. Can they keep it going? Baylor is a tough out, and it's in Waco, and BYU may be riding really high off of a huge win. Is Baylor going to catch him sleeping? Colorado at UCF is another game I'm paying attention to. Colorado is not on ASU schedule this year. UCF is on ASU schedule this year. Both of these teams are pretty darn good. UCF, another team who was predicted to finish towards the bottom. I think they were closer to the middle-ish. But again, I had them in that limbo tier of I don't really believe that there's a middle of the pack in the Big 12. I think you're either a great team or you're a terrible team. They are a great team. They are probably one of the 5 best programs in the Big 12 right now. KJ Jefferson has been a godsend at quarterback for them. Colorado has exceeded my expectations. I thought Colorado was probably one of the 3 worst teams in the conference. They have played good football. Shedeur Sanders, turns out he is still a really good quarterback, even if you don't like him on a personal level. And Travis Hunter might be the best football player in the country. That'll be a fun game to watch. It's down in Orlando. We'll see what happens there. Cincinnati at Texas Tech. Cincinnati has exceeded expectations. Texas Tech is probably right around where we thought they would be. Is Texas Tech going to start the year 2-0? This is going to be really interesting for ASU because towards the end of the year, or even right now, honestly, if Texas Tech starts the year 2-0 in conference play, at least you can look back and go, well, we lost to one of the better teams in the Big 12. But if Texas Tech starts slumping, that's when it's like, how did ASU lose to this football team? Number 20, Oklahoma State at number 23, Kansas State. One of the premium matchups in all of college football. 2 ranked teams going up against each other. 2 teams that have massive, massive expectations and aspirations of getting to the Big 12 championship game. I got news for you. Whoever loses this game, you're out. You are not going to the Big 12 championship game if you lose this game. You're just not going to be able to do it. Both of these teams have 1 loss already in Big 12 play. Oklahoma State lost to Utah last week. Kansas State lost to BYU. You can't start the year 0-2 in conference play and then expect that you're going to find yourself in the Big 12 Conference Championship. Utah very well could sleepwalk their way there. And then I would imagine that if Oklahoma State or Kansas State has the tiebreaker, that's where it's going to end up going for the championship game. But who knows? Maybe ASU can get them sleeping as well. The last game to pay attention to, you already know what this game is. And it's not even that this has massive, massive implications on the Big 12. An upset certainly would. But it's Arizona, the team down south, visiting number 10 Utah. This is going to be a hate watch for me. I will absolutely be tuned into this game, and I will be a Utes fan for the 3 hours of that game. And I mean diehard Utes fan. Utah got upset last year by Arizona down in Tucson, and it was a thorough beating. Is Utah about to let that happen again? What's the deal with Cam Rising? How's the rest of the team going to be able to step up if he doesn't play or if he's not 100% ready to go? Can the defense find a way to stop the Fafita to McMillan connection that almost nobody in the country has been able to stop? This is going to be a really interesting game. Like I said, this is absolutely a hate watch for me, and I will be a Utes fan until that game is over. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the games that are not in the Big 12 that I think you should be paying attention to because they just seem like a lot of fun. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to talk to you about our friends over at Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn a very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash receive unlimited 1% deposit bonuses, and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit Robinhood.gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. I also want to talk to you about our friends over at Gametime. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks, and it makes getting tickets easier for any event, not just sports, guys, for concerts, anything like that, because Gametime Picks is going to they're going to filter out the fluff and show you incredible deals on seats, and you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. Gametime Picks curation makes it easier to save on sports, comedy, concerts, theater, and more. Their all-in pricing feature, you're going to toggle it. It's going to show you the total up front. There are no surprise fees at checkout. You can get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy, so you know what to expect when you arrive. My favorite part of Gametime is their lowest price guarantee. Gametime is going to credit you 110% of the difference if you can find tickets in the same section and row for less. And of course, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? It's game time. Wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you get that update whenever we post new content. Special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. But thanks to all of you for tuning in and making Locked On Sun Devils your first listen of the day. What games should you be watching that are not in Big 12? Well, I got 6 games that really interest me. Let's go ahead and start with a ranked-on-ranked matchup, and that's number 15 Louisville at number 16 Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish have not been good this year. Just need to call it as it is. They have underachieved the whole year. They were in a slugfest with Texas A&M in week 1, back when we thought Texas A&M was a SEC contender, because we got to do that every year with Texas A&M. Don't know why, but it's a yearly tradition. This is the Aggies' year. Neither here nor there. Then they lose to Northern Illinois. This is no hate towards Northern Illinois, but I do think it's funny that as soon as they beat Notre Dame, boom, they're in the AP top 25. I wonder why that is. I wonder if it's to justify that Notre Dame lost to another ranked team. I don't know. Politics of college football. Notre Dame is consistently loved. If you're like me and you're just an absolute hater of the Fighting Irish, my apologies to Notre Dame fans. I'm looking forward to Louisville going into this game. Going to South Bend, I like Louisville in this game. I do. I think that the Fighting Irish are absolutely pretenders. They had a schedule that they were supposed to sleepwalk through, and they're not going to do it. And the Cardinals are a damn good football team, and they have been a phenomenal team the last few years. Last year, they were in the conference championship game. This is a good Cardinals team. I like them to upset Notre Dame on the moon, let alone in South Bend. Next game I'm really interested in is Arkansas at number 24, Texas A&M. Arkansas's head coach, Sam Pittman, is coaching for his life. He's 3-1 to start the year. The Razorbacks have been a pleasant surprise, whereas Texas A&M, as always, has been a very disappointing team. It's a yearly tradition down in College Station. Is Arkansas going to be able to keep it going? I don't know. You could start the year 4-1 with some pretty decent wins, plus a really, really, really close loss to Oklahoma State. And I thought they should have won that game. You could easily be a 4-0 Arkansas Razorbacks team. Might be able to get to 4-1. Texas A&M, they're ranked again because they're Texas A&M, not because because they're good. Sorry, call it as it is. Go ahead and do the, oh, he said the thing. It's true. Sorry, I'm not a Texas A&M hater. I'm a hater of the politics that want to rank Texas A&M every chance they get. This is not a top 25 team. It is what it is. Call it as it is. There it is again. Next game I'm interested in is Stanford at number 17, Clemson. Clemson has surprised me. I will tell you, I was not big on the Tigers going into this year. And when they got curb stomped by Georgia in week 1, I was like, yeah, no, that seems like what we're going to see all year. Well, guess what? They have won all their other games. They have won convincingly. Cade Klubnik, who I thought was one of the worst quarterbacks in the ACC going into this year, has been more than solid. And sometimes that's all you need is just a solid quarterback play. They've also got one of my favorite running backs in the country with Phil Maffa, who is just a bulldozer in the backfield for them. And Phil Maffa? Who am I thinking of? Yeah, Phil Maffa. I'm not crazy. Phil Maffa is a monster, man. Having him just run over dudes is such a perk for them. Cade Klubnik's playing good football, and that's a really good defense too. Stanford, they're fine. They're nothing special. They're off to a 2-1 start to the year. They are better than they were a year ago, but I mean, they were one of the worst teams in the Pac-12 a year ago, so you didn't really have anywhere to go but up. They also got their receiver, Alec Ayamanor, I believe is how you say it. I apologize if I did not pronounce that correctly. He's one of the most underrated receivers in football. Are they going to be able to give Clemson a run for their money? It's at the other Death Valley, so I don't really know. Number 19, Illinois at number 9, Penn State. Illinois has been another team that's been a really pleasant surprise this year. And it's really fun to see those teams that don't come into the season with very high expectations and then for them to absolutely blow the doors off and just be a very impressive football team. And they've got a really impressive win. They're coming off a win over number 22, at the time, number 22 Nebraska. They beat them in Norman, right? Norman? No, Norman's Oklahoma. Where's Nebraska play? Lincoln. In Lincoln. They beat them in Lincoln. And this Nebraska team is also pretty good with Dylan Raiola and the rest of the team they built. Illinois is a good football team, but you're going to Happy Valley. And Penn State, they're as difficult a team to beat at home as anybody else in the nation. I don't think this is a whiteout game. If it is a whiteout game, then Penn State by 100. I still like Penn State, but I think that Illinois is going to be a really tough out for them. Number 8, Oregon at UCLA. This shouldn't be close. This should not be close. UCLA is terrible. Oregon is borderline elite. They need to wake up at some point because right now they are coasting, and Oregon is supposed to be a contender in the Big Ten. They are certainly probably the 3rd best team in the Big Ten right now, maybe the 4th. They need a statement game. I think they can get it. The reason why it's on my list is just a former Pac-12 game. It's an old Pac-12 rivalry, and you're going down to Pasadena in the Rose Bowl for a little bit of nostalgia. Of course, the game to watch, and don't worry, I know that you were wondering, is Richie going to mention it? Of course I'm going to mention it. Of course I am. Number 2, Georgia, and number 4, Alabama. This might be the game of the year. Week 4 or week 5 of the college football season. This might be the game of the year. This is more than likely, I'd give it a 90% chance. This is your SEC championship game. Bama is 7-1 in their last 8 matchups against Georgia. That one loss was a national championship loss where Keely Ringo housed a pick 6 to seal that game. This is a really exciting game in Tuscaloosa at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Bama's going to be excited, but it's a new era. Nick Saban's gone. Kalen DeBoer's in. Kirby Smart is still back with his Georgia Bulldogs. They're still really fast, if you understand the little reference there. very tongue-in-cheek, very good football team. They are actually, going into the year, Georgia was my pick to win the national championship. This is a big test for them. Alabama has been a team that they have really struggled to get past. Now that Nick Saban is gone, is that the obstacle that you needed to get over that hump? I'm really excited. Let's run through these games one more time. I'm going to pick winners because I didn't do that before. Arizona at Utah. Give me Utah. Give me Utah big. Oklahoma State at K-State. I'm going to take the home team. I'm going to go K-State. Manhattan is a difficult place to play. K-State's going to be pissed off because Oklahoma State's coming off a tough loss to Utah. K-State is coming off a crushing loss to BYU. And BYU, while they have been a surprise, was not supposed to be a team that is doing what they're doing. K-State's going to be pissed off. They're going to play a good game. Cincinnati at Texas Tech. Give me the home team. I got the Red Raiders. Their offense is flying high. Their defense has been very sneaky good this year. I'm not super in on Cincinnati, but they have been quality. I think they're 3-1. Colorado at UCF. That feels like a toss-up to me. I feel like I could flip a coin. I am going to go with the home team, but not confidently. If Colorado is able to get their offense going, this is going to be a shootout. UCF is the more complete team for me, and KJ Jefferson is one of the most underrated players in college football. We'll see if they can keep up with Colorado, because if Colorado gets going on offense, Colorado's going to win this game. Number 22, BYU at Baylor. I'm taking, believe it or not, taking Baylor. I am taking the home team once again. Big 12, I've got home teams going 5-0. BYU is not a fake team. That is a good football team. They are not just exceeding expectations. They are playing good football. Do not be mistaken. I like a trap game, though. And I think that Baylor could be the team to do it. Waco is not an easy place to go to. Baylor is a quality football team. It's not like they're a bottom dweller. They are in limbo with everybody else. I like Baylor to get the upset. I like this as a trap game. Around the country, number 15 Louisville at number 16 Notre Dame. I already said, give me Louisville. I think it'll be close, but I like the Cardinals in this game over the massive pretenders that the Fighting Irish are. Arkansas at number 24 Texas A&M. I'm taking the road team again, and I'm taking Arkansas. They're playing with something to prove right now. And Texas A&M, I'm sorry, like they're fine. They're fine. Arkansas has an edge in this game. They have something very important to play for with the career and the fate of head coach Sam Pittman hanging in the balance. I got Arkansas in this game. Stanford at number 17, Clemson. Stanford's a fun story. Clemson is just a good football team. I got the Tigers. I got the Tigers by at least 2 possessions. Number 19, Illinois at number 9, Penn State. Similar thing. Illinois is a really cool story. Better story than Stanford for sure. Penn State wins this football game. They are probably the second best team in the Big Ten right now. I would listen to an argument they're the best because Drew Howler is playing out of his mind this year. I got Penn State at home. Number 8, Oregon at UCLA. Give me Oregon by 20. Give me Oregon by 30. Give me Oregon by 40. I don't care. Oregon cruises to a win. And number 2, Georgia at number 4, Alabama. The most intriguing game here. Ladies and gentlemen, roll Tide, roll. I got Bama in this one. I think that Bama is just one of those teams this year that I don't think you can say they were disrespected going into this year, but I certainly think that a lot of people overlooked them for Georgia, for Ohio State, for Oregon, and they're just good. Jalen Milroe is a good quarterback. He is in the Heisman race. Ryan Williams, I don't know if you have heard this. He's 17 years old. Oh my God, that has become like the new Ryan Fitzpatrick played at Harvard or Antonio Gates played basketball in college. Like you hear it multiple times a week. I don't care if he's 25. I don't care if he's 17. He's good at football. He's really freaking fast. Bama's defense, they're good. Georgia's defense, elite. Michael Williams, a game time decision. If Michael plays, I might take Georgia, but I don't know if he's going to play. Carson Beck is going to be probably the biggest X factor in this game. he's a really good quarterback. He is also in the Heisman race. And the way he plays this year is going to decide if Georgia ends up winning a national championship. Those are my games. I got 11 games for you to watch. Or no, I had 12 games. What was my 12th game? Because I didn't think to write it down. What was my 12th game? It was a Big 12 game. Of course, this is the one game I didn't write down in my notes. Oh, TCU, Kansas. Give me TCU. Kansas is not good. TCU, they've been in games this year. They're pissed off. They've lost their last two, and they've lost them bad. Horned Frog's going to be pissed off in this game. All hail Hypnotoad. What games are you guys going to be watching this week? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in and making Locked On Sun Devils your first listen of the day. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. I will see you all on Monday when we get back to focusing on Arizona State University. P.S. Go Sun Devils. Forks up. I'll see you Monday. Till then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.